owned a couple of Ferraris, and I thought that I could build a car that would be better than a Ferrari at a lower cost. I had no ego problems, of course. By sheer chance, one of my very best friends, Tom Charda, was a designer for Ghia. I'd always wanted to build a car, and this seemed to be a unique chance. We were having dinner and had a nice bottle of wine and thought it'd be a very good idea to build a car, incorporating very good handling, low center of gravity, low polar moment of inertia, be aerodynamically efficient and fuel efficient, low unsprung weights, very good brakes, and be reliable. So trying to put all these things together into a aesthetically pleasing package is the challenge. All my life I'd always wanted to build cars. I started out as a kid building go-karts before they existed, and when I was about 10 built a car with a washing machine motor in my basement. It's just been a fantasy of mine, and this was a chance to realize it. And I never thought it was going to be as difficult as it was, but I have a mechanical curiosity and I don't know where it came from. It's a combination, the synthesis of Italian design and aesthetics with American hardcore engineering. The symbol, the yin and the yang, is the good and the bad, but it's really the combination of the Italian and American. I had to design the chassis, and so I wanted to do something that I could calculate with my ability. And this is before computers, so it was all stress analysis and trying to figure out the natural frequencies and the rigidity and the torsional stiffness. And so using square tube central backbone, that was possible for me. I could do that. And then chose Lancia Fulvia Rally suspension components because they were very rugged, very light. When we were building the floor pan, ended up adding sills that were also rigid, and the fender wells became structural. So the chassis is extremely rigid, and as an evidence of that, it will only sit on 3 jack stands. To mate the body to the chassis, I couldn't have done that without the help of some very talented people in Italy. In those days, these guys are just miracle men. When they were hammering out the body, one of the biggest panels was the roof panel. I held it up and I could see there was sort of a little dent in one corner, and you and I'd go hammer on the other side of it. This guy twists a little bit and bangs it on this side and the dent comes out. You know, I'm a graduate mechanical engineer and I have absolutely no idea how that works. The engine is a mid-engine because I wanted the lowest polar moment of inertia. And it's a flat 4 because I wanted the lowest center of gravity. The best one available was a 1600cc, and I made new cranks, pistons, liners, valves, everything for it, and brought it up to 2 liters. Worked on it and used the Nardi dynamometer to develop the engine with the dual twin choke carbs. Not extremely powerful. The Ferrari was 0 to 60 in 8 seconds. And so I figured I could do that with a light car. The car weighs 2,200 pounds and the weight distribution is about 55-45 rear. The car handles like a go-kart, has very quick steering. I use the Lancia Fulvia Rally steering box. It's really fun to drive. We went to a lot of car shows together all over Europe, and our tastes in cars are very similar. So he made a few sketches, and then we came to an idea of what the sketch should look like. He can do that in, an hour. But then he designed the car, which means you take a full-scale drawing board and draw a section every 10 centimeters from the side, from the front, and from the back. And this is before computers, and he does it by eye, and I don't know how anybody in the world can do that. And that's probably one of the few cars in the world that was designed by one person. I did not change one thing because I thought it was perfect. Once it's designed, we took it to a guy who made templates on those sections that were made every 10 centimeters, and from the templates made a wooden buck. And then you take the wooden buck to a patilastro who does the actual hammering and bending of the sheet metal. So he asked me if you could bend angle iron. I said, no, you can't bend angle iron, it'll buckle. So he had a guy, Giuseppe, out there, and he goes bangity, 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 bang, and bent the angle iron. He says, you want to see it straightened? I said, no way. And bangity, bangity, bang, and he straightened it. And then when we were in the office talking about price and delivery and so forth, he was out there going bangity, bang, and he brought in almost a perfect sphere with a hole in it. He said, sorry, I couldn't close it because I can't get my hammer inside. So I said, heck with it, that's good. He can do it. And they did a beautiful job. You hardly had to do anything after it was assembled. Once the welds were ground, it came and everything fit. So it was a lot of serendipity. The internal leather is all goatskin, and it's really supple and very nice. And the gauges are all angled towards the driver. And the colored buttons were a brilliant idea of mine. When a supplier told me that he was supplying the buttons for the 747, which was just coming out, and that they were qualified to 100,000 feet elevation. And I thought, well, that would be cool to have in the car. The rewarding part is that it's aesthetically pleasing and it works. You know, I designed a car and it works. And then going to the car shows, winning the People's Choice at Concorso Italiano was such a thrill. Having it on the 18th green at Pebble Beach, something I've been going to for 45 years and never dreamt that I'd have a car there. And it was just such a thrill to do that. My whole family came to support me. You know, that and $2.50 gets me a free cup of coffee, but it's just a confirmation that I'm not completely nuts. You know, usually to put out a car it takes 2,000 engineers or something. For a two-man operation without any outside specialists doing the actual work, I think it came out extremely well. It's a great satisfaction, especially since it's something I always wanted to do. Being able to do it, I'm very lucky, very fortunate that I had the financial means and a good friend like Tom Charta that made it possible. My name is Peter Jacoby, and I'm driving a 1970 2000 Synthesis.